Hi guys, it's Ian here from Ginger Ninja FPV. I just wanted to do a little bit of a quick review video. Just purchased a new camera for my FPV setup, and I thought it'd be good to do a bit of a review of it. So the camera in question is the Foxeer Monster 16x9 widescreen 1200 TVL FPV camera. Now, the reason why I wanted this camera so much is basically I own a pair of the Dominator V3 goggles, which are absolutely amazing piece of kit. But the other problem with them is that they're a 16:9 ratio, so it's like a bit of a widescreen, which a lot of FPV pilots don't seem to like, and they've gone back to sort of using the V2s, which are more of a 640 by 460 squarer sort of resolution. Now I've been using the HS117 HS1177 camera on my FPV setup. Now the resolution on that is round about the 640 by 460 mark. It's kind of designed to fit that resolution. Now the problem is with me, obviously I'm running a 16:9 resolution, so the chances are when I'm sort of heading up towards gates and things can look a little squashed. You know, you're not getting a true impression of how things actually are in real life. Now I've just got used to flying that way, so it doesn't really hinder me, I don't think, in any way, shape or form. But you know, if we can get a 16:9 resolution camera to match the 16:9 resolution that I'm seeing through the goggles, then perfect, you know. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to review this camera against a camera of its same type. What I'm kind of going to do is I'm going to do a review based upon the difference between the aspect ratios of the HS1177 and this camera, to see if there actually is any kind of difference, you know, in the way it sort of feels when I'm heading towards gates. And I'm hoping to do a bit of footage that illustrates that as well. Okay, so I got this in the post the other day. I've been waiting to get it open. So what do we get in the box? So we get it out. We get the actual camera. Now this it's about the same size as the HS1177. It's sort of designed to fit in the same kind of place. Now what you actually get with this is two camera bodies. So we get one with the two holes in it, which there's a bracket included that has sort of a pivot at that place, and then this sort of screw locks into like a slider mechanism, so you can tighten this up and it'll be fixed in the actual place where you want it, because we know how annoying it is when you land a bit heavy and your camera sort of tilts forward. So that's the first camera body. That's obviously already set up with the 2.8mm lens. And you also get the more standard sort of type with the sort of center pivot, which is what I'm going to be using for my quad. So it's just going to be a case of swapping the circuit board and the lens over, hopefully. But I'll crack on with that shortly. You also get it out, a nice little packet with all the fixtures and fittings in. So like I say, we've got this sort of situation where we can put the camera in this bracket and it'll lock into that pivot, and you can set it to the correct angle that you want it to set at without having it sort of flexing all over the place. We also have a mount, so we can mount it using this ring mechanism, which the ring would fit over the actual body itself and hold it in place like that. What else we get? And we get the wires and remote. So we've got the remote. It's more type the board remote that you used to get rather than the newest style remotes, looking at it. The thing I quite like about this is, if I plug that in there, this entire plug has all the fixings on it that you need, all the wiring on it that you need to A, wire your camera up, and B, have the remote in, because the HS1177 has a single port on back. And what you kind of have to do is, when your camera's in the quad, if you want to change the settings on the OSD, is pull this plug out, put another plug in, which is an absolute nightmare when you're tight for space. So I think the idea behind this is you can hardwire this wire in with your positive, negative, and video, and then this wire can just be tucked away somewhere. Then when you want to use it, they give you this handy little extension lead that'll plug in like that, and then this will plug into your remote, making it a lot easier to do the OSD setups, presumably. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go away now. I'm going to swap these camera bodies over. I'm going to fit this into my quad, and we're going to get a first look at the kind of video that I'm getting from it. Okay then guys, so I've taken my HS1177 camera out of my quad. I just wanted to sort of do a quick size comparison. So if I take the actual camera body, you can see like side to side is round about the same size. On the HS1177 you've got these little lugs sticking out a little bit. We compare that to this one, they're a little bit flatter. But we put it back to back, the HS1177 is a little wider because of these little lugs, so it should fit in exactly the same place as the HS1177. On this one, obviously, I've got a 2.1 lens as well, so I'm going to be looking at testing that 2.1 lens on my new monster cam as well. So that should be interesting to see what the wide angle's like. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap over the camera bodies, because obviously I want to mount it the same way I was mounting my HS1177, so that's using these sort of holes here rather than having another camera mount. The reason for that is I'm using the QAV-X frame, which has sort of some little mounts like this, so that fits in there and it swivels, so I'm not using a separate mount. So I want to mount this one in exactly the same way, it's just a lot neater and a lot stronger. Okay, so there's only two little screws to kind of undo, if I can get them open. I know sort of pulling things apart can be a little daunting for some people, so just thought I'd show you this. Okay, so just pulled it out of there, so the back comes off. We've got a little circuit board, making sure that I'm quite careful with it. Now I'm just looking here, the Foxeer label is at the top there, and the wiring port is at the top, so that's the kind of way I want to put it back in the other one. Pull that out, Foxeer to the top, just going to drop that in. Put the back on. And then swap the lens over. So these lenses screw all the way out. And drop that, making sure not to cross thread it. These threads are very, very fine. If you cross thread them, then you're going to be in trouble. There we go. Nice and easy. And that's ready to rock and roll. So it is quite an easy job, just to swap these camera bodies over. It's not not anything that anybody couldn't do. You're just got to be quite careful of the circuit board when you're swapping it between. But other than that, not bad. So I'm going to go away and actually fit this into my quad now, and we'll see if we can get some video out of it. Okay then guys, I'm back. I'm just trying to do a test regarding sort of the aspect ratio of these two cameras. So one's obviously 640 by 460, and the other one being a 16:9. Now, I've tried to do this with my goggles, and I've worked out that the DVR on the goggles only records in 640 by 460, so the results aren't accurate. So what I've had to do is set my monitor up, which is currently set in 16 by 9 mode, so that represents the same aspect ratio as what my goggles in. And I've also set my camera up looking down onto the monitor. Now what I've done is I've printed out quite a large red circle on a piece of paper. Now I've printed this out in CAD, so I know it's pretty much round, and I've printed it out to scale and all that sort of stuff. So the idea is that we should be able to see the aspect of the smaller image of the old camera, the HS1177, being stretched, thus making this circle into a bit of an oval, and then we'll have a look at the new camera on the same settings and see what the difference is. Okay, so I've set this up rather crudely, so bear with me a second. So first of all, I'll plug in the HS1177 camera. Okay, try and get a bit of an image on this. So this is my old camera that I've used for absolutely ages. So this is my piece of paper with the circle on. Now, as you can see, this circle is in life is a circle, but on this camera the image is actually being stretched lengthwise. You can see it's not a massive amount, but it is actually an oval. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to plug my new camera in. So this is the new Foxeer Monster Cam. So I'm not looking at any kind of quality, but I am looking at whether the camera is actually portraying this as a true circle, which as far as I can see and make out on the screen, it looks pretty circular to me, a damn sight better than the last one looked. So obviously I need to do some flight tests with this and see how it compares out in the field. But to now, just doing some bench testing, really happy. Hi guys, just been out today doing some testing with the Foxeer Monster Cam. The footage that you see in here has been lifted straight from my DVR. Now as I was saying, my DVR on the Fat Shark Dominator is recording sort of the standard definition, the sort of 6:4 ratio. Now the camera is also, obviously displaying in the 16:9. So what I've had to do is I've actually stretched this footage to the 16:9 ratio within my video editing software. But I have to say, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Compared to my old camera, the HS1177, I think the image quality is far better. The colours look amazing. Now, it was quite sunny when I took this particular video earlier on in the day. It was very, very overcast, and it looked just as good. Now, I've not tested this in any kind of low light situations yet, but we'll see how it goes. So far, so good. I think the image quality far surpasses the HS1177. I have used a other lens on this as well. This is actually recorded with a 2.1 because I like the wide angle lens rather than the 2.8 that comes with it, but that's no big deal. Also, it's not standard settings out of the box. I've had to tweak the settings to get the image quality and the colour sort of saturation this good. So I'm not going to take credit for those settings either. I did some YouTube searching yesterday and I found some settings that somebody else was using, so I just put those settings in because they look good, and this is the result. So I really can't complain with the result of this video quality. I'm really happy with the camera overall. Everything looks in proportion the way it should do. We've not got this sort of squashing or stretching happening, and it just looks absolutely amazing. So if you have actually got a Dominator V3s or any sort of goggles that use the wide angle 16:9, I can heavily advise you go and get a 16:9 camera, and this one is as good as any. I think Foxeer have done a really good job on this camera. I will post the camera settings that I found. I'll post a link to it in the comment section so you can see what camera settings I'm actually using. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please like and share, and more importantly, subscribe.